Reboot. Oh, I'm not wearing a watch. So, I'm back in the circus again for probably the final time. We'll see, depending if they do any spinoffs. So yeah, I'm one of the folks that went and saw The Amazing Digital Circus, the last act, aka the final episode, and the previous episode just as a taster before you watch the actual finale episode. So, why did I decide to see this a couple weeks early instead of waiting for it to be free on YouTube like a lot of other people are going to? Well, spoilers, because I did not want to have to avoid a large portion of the internet for multiple weeks to avoid the spoilers, more than I already had done so. And hey, hooray! Fireworks, confetti, yay! That sound effect of the children going, hooray! Going on. Raise my armpits, hooray! I avoided the spoilers until I actually saw the freaking thing. And yay, I got in there unspoiled. Hooray! So, speaking of spoilers, I cannot really talk about this thing without going into the actual spoilers and events of the whole damn thing. So, like the movie said, if you have not seen the show up until this point, you have to catch up before you can watch the rest of this to continue the discussion. I'm going to put a big-ass spoiler warning text right here, or maybe here, or there, somewhere, so forth. If you're watching this and you have not caught up with the show, or have not already seen this thing, and actually this thing's making good money, this gamble to do the finale in the theaters seems to have paid off to the tune of like $35 million, so good for them. This will pay for several more pilots, I suppose. But yeah, this seems to have paid off. Anywho, this is your last chance. If you want a non-spoiler thought, it's an ending. Did I like it? I think so. My best comparison point is two things.
Marge, I'm confused. Is this a happy ending or a sad ending?
It's an ending, that's enough.
And best where I can put this ending, it stuck the landing, but it landed on a different part of the stage than I expected. Make that what you will. Last chance, get the hell out if you don't want spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Hooray! Jax is dead. There you go, that's the big spoiler. Now I scared off the other folks. Yeah, so the final episode is not quite what I expected, considering 75% is essentially a long goodbye to Jax, who quietly abstracts and essentially dies right at the start of the thing. In a kind of melancholy, sad way, he just wandered off and quietly died. Well, died as far as this show goes. And then the rest of the episode is mostly Pomni and the others dealing with this occurrence, and then Pomni trying to save him, kinda-ish. I don't know if she actually thought she could save him, or just wanted to actually figure out what the fuck his deal was, because that's the rest of the episode, is the gigantic final lore backstory dump for Jax to where explain why he is the way he is, where he came from, yada yada yada. To varying degrees of, well, if you thought he was an asshole before, boy, he's even worse than you actually thought. Yeah, this movie does a few things, walks back some stuff. Kane being dead, they kind of walk back to actually have a finale. And once we get done with the long goodbye to Jax, we get our wrap-up, which is odd. It's kind of a have your cake and eat it too situation, to where we get a happy ending, kinda, for most of the cast, while also giving closure to some of the questions that we had. I have issues with this, not gigantic ones. Once I realized what they were doing and was watching the clock and realizing, oh, we are out of time to actually have any kind of deep ending here. I don't think we're actually going to get what I expected now. So let's see what they do. Once I made peace with that, what they did is interesting. It works as an ending point for this. Is it satisfying? Mostly. It depends what you're wanting. I was expecting escape to be the end goal to actually be possible, and it ain't. Because apparently everyone that we've been following, these characters, are actually brain-scanned copies of the real-world people that they were based on, who we get update on them specifically, and they've been fine the entire time, living their lives, completely unaware that these digital copies of them have been stuck in this kind of hellscape for however long it's been happening. So, that's interesting. That's something to chew on. So, like, you get the closure of seeing the characters' human selves and them being happy and living their lives and being all hunky-dory, while also keeping the digital versions, characters that we are used to, still here and, I guess, available for future use if they choose to, in terms of spin-offs or sequels or whatever the hell. And it's kinda... I had to chew on. I'm not quite sure, even a day or two later, I'm not quite sure how I completely feel about them doing that. I think I would have preferred an actual sort of climactic occurrence to happen instead of this kind of quiet, semi-melancholy finale that's kind of that's half-wake for Jax. It did a thing. Did I like the thing fully? Not quite sure. Does it work for what they decided to do? Yeah, for the most part. The question is, will everyone be satisfied by this thing? I am amused by some of the choices. They hard shut down the shipping bullshit between people who wanted Jax and Pomni to hook up. No. No. That door shut slammed in your face. I do appreciate some of the bits here, like, relating to that. I like at Gangle, it was completely allowed to be justified in her utter hatred of him and not being asked to forgive him or whatnot, even though after he was dead. I like that. You don't have to like people, even if they're dead or if they die tragically. You are allowed to have your feelings and hold on to those feelings. Change those feelings if you feel like it, but you should not be forced to to change them if you don't want to. I like that element. That was good. The stuff with Ragatha, interesting. The actual payoffs with their human stories, they all fit for the most part. They work. The walk back with Kane, not big on it, but it was basically a case of, well, do you want a bad ending, or do you want a about as good as you're going to get ending with the circumstances without actual escape being an option? I suppose I'm okay with him walking back his death just to have something less depressing as an ending. Because everyone being stuck in a half-broken version of this thing forever with no changes and no ability to do anything beyond just exist, kind of depressing. At least with this situation, they ended with everyone has the ability to kind of live a heaven life situation under the circumstances, kind of. It's good enough, I suppose. It's kind of a ending for the whole cast, except for the ones who died and stayed dead. I'm happy that everyone who died did not get revived, so the stakes are actually still somewhat there. Even though they did a thing that I'm not sure if that was meant to be a sequel bait or just a tidbit or something, because, hey, it looks like Scratch got revived, kinda, or at least another copy of his brain scan got dropped in, so there's a fresh one in, at least for him. So I don't know if that was meant to be just a tease for something or a tidbit. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I'm still shocked that they actually appear to have decided to let this particular golden goose of a franchise have an actual ending. It wouldn't shock me if that's not going to be the case at some point in the future. I could see them doing a spin-off or something else with this setting and these characters, or go into newer characters or different characters. I did like actually seeing the frog girl and the clown guy, seeing what their stuff was, seeing what their deal was and relating to Jax and whatnot, and exploring Jax's bullshit during all that. Interesting. You can empathize, if not condone, his actions, which were completely terrible. Which we already kind of figured, but yeah, as bad or possibly worse than expected. So, I'm still justified in that picture I drew of him being turned into shit. I stand by that. That's a Kanada guarantee. I will stand by turning people into shit if I feel it's justified. That's a weird sentence. Anywho, that's the finale. I guess we'll see what happens if they do anything else with this particular franchise, or if it actually is legit done. 56, 60, 70%, I'd say. 6-7 joke. Yada yada. They might leave it alone. They might not. We'll see in the future. Anywho, it is what it is. I saw it in the theater. I am glad I saw it in the theater for the sheer novelty of, well, I saw a thing on YouTube. Let's watch the ending in a theater, which was actually kind of packed, and had people in cosplay, and they were the most behaved, quiet-ass audience I've seen in a while. They were hanging on to the whole thing the entire time. Not a peep, not a phone, not a nothing, until the thing was done, and then they were clapping and happy and yada yada, and scanning the phones, the screen, the QR code on the screen to go buy some more merchandise, and so on, as you do. So yeah, I don't know if they can resist leaving this golden goose in the ground. We'll see. Hey, goose works. Goose joke. I made it funny. Anyway, being funny, look at my pornography. Pay me to make more for it. Join my Patreon. Become a Kanada. It's a circus you can join that also will strip you of your identity and your name and force you into a new body. It's fun. Join us, won't you? Like and subscribe, etc. Watch the other videos I do, yada yada yada. Go away. Bye-bye. Bye. Boot. Get. Doing things with my hands. Yeah. Take out my ears. Go away.